Today's Black Clover video is one of the most important hidden subplots that could reveal Asta's true magic, or help Asta unlock the true potential of anti-magic, so that Asta will definitely become the strongest wizard king. If you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. Please enjoy this video. Let's go! There's a very important and yet extremely underrated side plot in Black Clover. We've already talked about it a few times on this channel, but since we are moving towards the final story arc or saga, we have to make one last video on this subject, with everything we know so far, because if this theory is true, it might even be revealed in the next chapter. There's no time left to drag this plot out any further. It's about Sally and her inventions based on Asta's DNA that allows her to create magic items whose effects completely contradict the statement that Asta has no magic. The fascinating thing about this theory is that in Tabata's earlier work Hungry Joker, which was cancelled after only a few chapters, there's a female character who's very similar to Sally, except for her personality. She is like Sally, a scientist who takes DNA sample from the main character, who by the way looks like Asta, just like Sally did with Asta, and then uses that sample to discover a method of increasing people's powers, just like Sally had already done or planned to do when she was escorted by Makuza and Marks to the Black Bull base, so that she could experiment on Asta's genetics to develop a tool to increase people's magic for the fight against the Spade Kingdom. This is a clear reference to Tabata's earlier work. The point is that in Hungry Joker, in addition to the new magic tools, the scientists also discovered a secret about the main character's genetics that explains certain things about him. This is the last thing that is missing to fully reflect the storylines of both theories. In Hungry Joker, it has turned out that the main character is a hybrid between a human and what we would probably call a devil in the world of Black Clover. If we follow this concept, then the same revelation is possible for Asta, especially considering the whole Astaroth father theory. The fact that Asta looks like Liebe's twin and that Asta was chosen by a 5-leaf clover grimoire, a grimoire that is believed to be used only by devils. I mean, it's actually so extremely obvious, I would be surprised if it turned out that Asta is not a devil hybrid. But if it's true, that would mean that Asta could have a hybrid transformation just like Charmy and Yuno, and thus have the chance to have a magic ability. This is because hybrids have the possibility of having 2 magic abilities. So if his human side is defective, maybe at least his devil side will work. If he actually has the magic ability as well as the corresponding mana, then that mana can't be sensed or accessed as long as Asta himself doesn't release that hybrid mana. It is like a closed door. As long as the door is closed, neither he nor anyone else can perceive his hidden magic. Charmy is a perfect example of this, as is Yuno, who, while not literally a hybrid, nevertheless also had a hidden mana source within him, namely his human soul, which he can use star magic with. Both Yuno and Charmy were given access to this mana only after their awakening. By the way, Yuno's elven soul is itself a human-elf hybrid, which theoretically gives him the ability to use a third magic. Even if many would not like this to be true, it is 100% possible. The elf soul could have 2 magics in the form of dual magic, just like Charmy, and together with Yuno's star magic, he will then have 3 magic abilities. We have already made a video about it, you can find the link in the comments. Anyway, so if Asta is indeed a hybrid, and he's just in his human form all the time, then it is no surprise why no one could notice his devil magic. Then there's also the possibility that Liebe is basically Asta's devil side. That is, Asta and Liebe could actually be one person, a human devil hybrid, but for some reason the soul split into that of a devil and that of a human. In that case, the situation would be completely different. If we assume that Astaroth is really the father, but it could really be any other devil, and this devil then impregnated Lysita, however they did it, then she was pregnant with their child, but due to the fact that devils are not born in the living world like normal humans, but are created in these strange cocoons in the underworld, it could explain why their soul might have been split, with the devil part manifesting in the devil world, while the human body developed in Lysita's uterus. This would explain why Asta and Liebe look like twins, why Nacht said that it seems like the two are connected, why Lysita loved Liebe like her own child from day one, and why Asta can use a 5-leaf clover grimoire. And if you're wondering why Lysita didn't tell Liebe, well, maybe the reason is just not meant for a child's mind. Maybe it has something to do with why she gave Asta away, and maybe this could also reveal that she actually always knew that one day Lucifero would come to them, and then Callicita, who was willing to die as long as she could protect Asta and Liebe. This will also explain why she always had the 5-leaf clover grimoire with her to see Liebe in case Lucifero showed up, so that Liebe would one day be reunited with Asta, his human side or brother. But all these things remain an unclear and vague idea because there's simply no further clues to help us understand what is really going on between Asta and Liebe, how exactly they are connected to each other. So let's leave that aside for now and focus instead on Asta's and Sally's research. There are some very interesting clues because the invented magic tools are all based on data collected from Asta's genetics, who apparently has no magic. Before my partner continues with this video, please take a moment to leave a like if you already like this video, it really helps us a lot, thank you.
Based on the information we have, we know that one of the magic tools increases magic and the other allows the user to hide their mana presence. As mentioned before, both inventions are based on the research Sally has done on Asta's body. So, whatever the secret of Asta's body is, it has allowed Sally to increase and hide magic. Hiding magic would make sense because Asta does not have any magic, which in turn could mean that he could be unintentionally hiding his true magic in a way where he himself can't access it and no one else can sense it or even absorb it. This would then fit into the whole hybrid idea and the secret mana source. The magic increasing tool, however, has not been shown yet, which is strange since such a tool would have been a very big help for the war in the Spade Kingdom. So there are two possibilities here. Either Sally just didn't manage to invent a magic increasing tool as she originally intended and instead was only able to invent this magic hiding rope, or she managed to invent this tool but it is not meant for ordinary people, only for Asta. So instead of calling it a tool, we could perhaps call it a kind of medicine or medical procedure that Sally invented to fix Asta's mana defect, or perhaps to help him multiply his anti-magic. Of course, this is also a very likely possibility. After all, the magic increasing tool was the original goal, so she must have had a reason to describe her research in those terms before she even started the official research. The reason why I use the word official is very important. By the time she was officially allowed to study Asta's DNA in the Clover Kingdom lab, she was already conducting her own research and experiments based on what she was able to learn and gather from Asta during the few previous encounters. For example, from his skin cells collected by the slime salamander. When Sally first took samples from Asta, she said she was going to start her research, and shortly thereafter, she showed some sort of beta version of a magic increasing substance. She then tested the substance on Borrow, whose magic then swelled like crazy, even though he had no mana left at that point. She then continued her research with Asta's DNA and was able to invent another magic increasing tool, which she demonstrated in the Elf Reincarnation arc in the battle against the Black Bulls. For 10 minutes, it multiplied the user's magic by a factor of 10. So it makes sense why Sally went to Asta to get his gene sample to invent a magic increasing tool, because all the magic increasing tools she already invented were also based on Asta's samples she had collected before. This makes it even stranger why we haven't seen a new version of this research in the Spade Kingdom, unless her research results were only meant for Asta. Sally was very disappointed when Asta wasn't with Nacht when he arrived at the meeting place where they were all supposed to go to the Spade Kingdom together, suggesting that she may have had something prepared specifically just for him, or at least information about his genetics that could have possibly explained why he can't use mana. So there is definitely something very big that we're gonna learn about Asta. You see, Sally's research has been a huge part of Black Clover from the beginning, which Tabata very cleverly disguised as an inconspicuous side plot, but this research has dragged on till the end, so it's just impossible for this not to be significant. And as we know, we've reached the finale of Black Clover, so there's not much time left for that storyline, and so we expect it to happen soon if this theory is really true. Assuming Sally really manages to awaken Asta's magic, what could his magic be? Considering how magic is inherited, it could either be his mother's magic, or his father's magic, or something in between, or something derived from their magic. So either something like storing magicless items in other items, which would fit with Asta being able to store his swords in his grimoire, or it could be something to do with time magic, for example if Astaroth is really Asta's father. Many believe that Asta can't use magic because of the connection to Liebe and anti-magic. However, this statement has been disproved many times in the manga. For example, Asta can enter spatial portals, even with the anti-magic weapons in his hands. Gashi has proved several times that he is able to multiply Asta even when he is in his anti-magic devil form. Vanessa was able to use her threads on Asta and also hold Asta's anti-magic sword indirectly. The Witch Queen was even able to use blood magic to control Asta even when he was in his devil form, and the anti-magic flowed through his entire body. Asta was able to use Lick's original sword technique, where he absorbed real mana even though that sword is normally filled with anti-magic, showing that he can learn to control both anti-magic and magic at the same time. Another example is that Asta's swords have multiple attributes that allow him to use anti-magic in different ways. For example, he can not only destroy magic but also reflect it, proving that anti-magic does not automatically nullify all magic. So it seems to have more to do with the intent Asta and Liebe have in using anti-magic, rather than it being an uncontrollable effect. This idea is further confirmed by Asta's new technique. Asta is able to cut only what he wants. Friends and comrades are not affected by his slash. So this underlines the possibility that he can control the effect of anti-magic. Lastly, the reflection between Asta and Yuno is a clear indication that Asta might actually get a second magic ability. Both can fuse with their partners, Liebe and Self. Both have a transformation with wings. Both have a special grimoire. Both have the same stages of transformation. Both have a total of 4 weapons, with Yuno's final weapon yet to be revealed. All power-ups are identical. The only way both differ is that Yuno has received a second magic. However, this suggests that Asta might also get a similar power-up soon. What do you guys think of this theory? Let us know in the comments below. That's it for today, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to smash the like button, and if you're new to our channel, make sure you subscribe with the notification bell turned on. See you guys in the next video. Yami out.